He sent this long message saying how he can't do this anymore and he needs to cut off his existence in my life.
Whoa, he's cutting off his existence in her life? What does that mean? I'd love to know what emo band TJ's ripped those lines off. It sounds super dramatic. A simple "it's over" probably would have sufficed. So is it actually over? Is the wedding officially being called off?
I'm just like up with all these things. Every time I do something, there's something coming out bad out of it. I'm really done with this.
Well, there you have it. TJ's drawing a line in the sand as to what he's prepared to take from Kimberly. And boy, the way she treated him in front of her parents was bad. But before we get carried away, before we dive into that, let's go back to the start to see where it all went wrong. So we left Kimberly in the last episode opening up to her parents about how she's not getting on with TJ's family. But with their wedding date now literally 3 days away, Kimberly's dad is urging her to hit the brakes. It's clear there's gonna have to be some big decisions made, and fast. But first, TJ needs to actually meet Kimberly's family.
I'm scared about TJ meeting you guys for the first time with all of this drama going on.
Well, if you're scared, Kimberly, just imagine what TJ's feeling. I mean, meeting your partner's parents for the first time is nerve-wracking enough without all the additional family drama that's going on. But let's not forget here, he's going into this blind. He has no idea that Kimberly's dad is urging her to postpone the wedding. So in walks TJ, totally unprepared. He's smiling, he's happy, he's trying to put his best foot forward. He's trying to make a good first impression, but he's got no idea what's in store.
How are you? How you doing?
Hi. Welcome. Yes, we hug.
Kimberly's parents are very cute.
It all starts off pleasantly enough. Everyone's smiling, they're getting the small talk out of the way. But TJ can sense that he needs to have the important talk soon. Or at least what he thinks is the important talk. So he looks Kimberly's stepmom and father dead in the eye and tries to reassure them that they're leaving their daughter in good hands. "I'll take care of her. She'll be fine in India," he tells them. But little does he know, Kimberly has already totally crushed his chances of convincing them about that.
Earlier today, Kim was talking about is feeling uneasy about her place in the home.
Any hopes that TJ had that this was going to be a light-hearted conversation, a nice first introduction to each other, is now completely dashed. Just look at his face, look at his smile completely disappear when he realises, oh gosh, this isn't gonna go as planned. And that's when the difficult questions begin. Kimberly's dad wants TJ to assure him that not only will Kimberly be happy with him, but also that everyone in his household will accept her.
They already accepted her. It's not about the acceptance. They are okay with everything except the argument which happened. If we can rub it off, just everything will be back to the same story.
That's not completely true though, is it, TJ? It was only a day ago that his family were attacking Kimberly for the clothes she was wearing. They were attacking her values and her morals. It felt very personal, and TJ's being naive if he thinks it's a matter of just forgetting the argument and moving on. It felt a lot more serious than that. But that's just classic TJ, isn't it? He's constantly looking to just sweep his problems under the rug and conveniently forget about them.
Let me tell you one thing. She has argued with Yash about liberty and individuality.
Actually, I did not. Yash used the word liberty. That didn't come out of my mouth.
Kimberly can't help but argue, can she? She just can't help herself. TJ never said she brought up liberty. He never said that she's the one that said it. All he said was that they argued over it. Yet pedantic Kim just has to interrupt him. She has to correct him. Despite the fact that it's a minor detail, it doesn't really add anything to the conversation or the story. But by doing this in front of her parents, she's undermining TJ. She could have just let that slide. But instead, now she's making him look like a liar. She's invalidating what he might say next.
But you didn't have issues with Yash before when you were here for 1 year.
I had no intention of moving in with you guys at any point.
last year.
Now, TJ tries to point out that they've lived together peacefully in the past. It can be done, it has been done, despite what it feels like right now. But I think he's missing a vital point here. The fact that they've lived together for a year means they now know each other. If they know each other and they don't like each other, well, that's a big problem. But TJ's point, as he goes on to say, is that he's been very clear with Kimberly from the very beginning. If they're going to get married, they have to live at home with his family. That's a non-negotiable. That is just their culture. So that being the case, there is no wiggle room here. She's just going to have to learn to get on with him. But Kimberly doesn't like that.
So,
That's how customs shows, but that was never what I wanted.
Yeah, that may be a reason you never wanted, but just I told you what I think.
So is it just what you want?
Having lived with Yash for a year, knowing what he was like, making this a big issue now, 3 days before your wedding, in front of your family, isn't fair. He's now feeling outnumbered. He's starting to get flustered with his language and his English. He's unable to express himself properly. The pressure's getting to him, and he definitely wasn't expecting to be blindsided like this. Now, Kimberly admits that TJ was open and honest up front. He didn't hide anything from her. He was clear what the living arrangement was going to be. She agreed to them. She got engaged knowing that this was a situation. But she's now trying to backtrack. She's now trying to manipulate things to get what she wants by asking the very loaded and very unfair question, is it just what you want?
I'm asking you if my opinion's gonna matter.
Don't try to buzzer with me because I'm just taking your side right now.
Don't tell me don't do something. I'm asking you a specific question and you're avoiding.
TJ's telling Kim, don't start picking fights with me when I'm on your side. But she won't listen. It's awful to see Kim attacking TJ in front of her family like this, the first time he's met them, when he's been defending her in front of his own family, to the point where his own relationship with his mum and brother seem to now be incredibly strained. That's not fair.
I feel very embarrassed the way she's treating me before her parents. They want to see Kimberly and me happy, but if you are fighting days before the marriage, that's a warning sign for everybody.
This right here is TJ to the core. Pretense seems to be everything. He doesn't want people to think that anything is wrong in any part of his life. He wants to project this perfect facade, even though it's not reality. He thinks Kimberly's parents want to see them happy. So in his mind, they should have just acted happy at that meal. But that's not how it works.
So I feel really bad and I'm getting worried about our relationship.
TJ's been humiliated in front of Kimberly's parents. His own family don't like Kimberly. And now he feels like all she's doing is tearing him down. There's a lot of issues between them, so it's no wonder that he's concerned. But off camera later that night, it seems like things get even worse. When we join them the next morning, Kimberly's stepmom is going into Kimberly's room to check up on her. And Kimberly's been crying.
I fired off a bunch of texts, and TJ and I got into this argument. I've tried calling him a few times. I've tried texting him a couple of times as well, but he wouldn't answer.
Kimberly's messages to TJ are dramatic and ridiculous, because the fact of the matter is, she's the one that made TJ look like a liar in the first place. Also, of course he wanted to impress her parents. It was their first time meeting. He's marrying their daughter in 2 days. Why is she acting like that's suddenly a bad thing? Even over text messages, Kimberly is relentless with her constant unhappiness. I'm not even sure what she wants from TJ right now. I mean, her issue was meant to be with his family. He was defending her. He was in her corner. So what does she want him to do? What does she want from him? I don't even think she knows. Like, what she does know is she's unhappy. And from the sounds of things, she's not the only one. TJ is now very unhappy too.
He sent this long message saying how he can't do this anymore and he needs to cut off his existence in my life.
It seems like TJ's limit has finally been reached. So is he really done with Kim, with the wedding, with all of it? Are they now calling it all off? Well, yes, maybe. It seems like yesterday's argument was the straw that broke the camel's back. By itself, it might not have been bad enough to end everything. But in addition to all that's been going on, this just feels like too much. It's brought everything crashing down. I can't help but feel that maybe TJ's watched one too many Bollywood movies, because this is a bit dramatic. Look, this breakup is probably for the best, but he could have done it with a bit more class. A text message at 2 AM to the woman you're set to marry in less than 48 hours isn't cool. It's not the way to do things. But then again, neither's the way that Kimberly's been acting either. That's also not cool, and she knows it.
And I know I can be a bitch, and I know I can be a handful.
Why don't you tell him how you really feel, down in your heart?
I know I can be a bitch, but why, TJ? Why? Why are you leaving me? Seriously, Kim? Listen to yourself. You're a bitch. You've been acting like a bitch. Now, Kimberly's stepmom tries to act like the voice of reason. She tries to reassure her that maybe it's not as bad as you think it is. Maybe it will all be okay. So Kimberly decides to pick up the phone and, rather than message, actually call TJ. She's hoping it's not really over. She's hoping that maybe she can salvage this relationship.
Did you not break up with me last night?
It feels like if I wouldn't be there, you were very happy there. And I'm really broken inside because of that.
TJ's trying to say that he feels like everything he does just makes Kimberly unhappy. So maybe if he takes himself out of the equation, maybe she'll be a lot happier. It feels like quite a lame, self-sacrificing move on his behalf. He's painting himself out like a martyr, when in reality, I have a feeling that TJ's maybe just decided that this relationship with Kimberly isn't worth losing his family over.
She was continuously texting me about her disappointment with the whole conversation and just keep telling me that I was bad and this was a last limit for me.
I'm suspicious of TJ's reasoning here, because that's how Kimberly's always been. That's how she's been from the very second we've met her. The only thing that seems to have really changed since the last time that she was in India is she's not getting on with his family. But to be completely honest, the way that his family were talking about her before she'd even arrived in India seemed to imply that there may have been tensions already there. They may have already not been getting on great before she even arrived. So the question is, has TJ really just had enough of Kimberly's negativity? Or has he finally picked a side and he doesn't want to admit it?
The whole problem in your life in last 7 days, it's because of me. Because I'm there, that's why you have an issue with the Yash. Because that's why you have to live with my mom and dad.
Look, we know that TJ likes to keep everyone happy. He wants everyone to like him. So maybe he's decided to end this relationship because fighting with his family isn't worth it, but he also wants to look like the good guy. He's trying to present himself like the bigger person. He wants Kimberly to find happiness beyond him. And that's how he wants to be seen, as the good guy, not the coward. Because what he's done is pretty cowardly. He's bailing on his marriage 2 days before the wedding. And he's done it by a late night text message. Not exactly the actions of a good guy.
I'm just like up with all these things. Every time I do something, there's something coming out bad out of it. I'm really done with this.
Look, TJ's in a very tough position here. It's kind of hard to judge him because not too many people would be able to put up with Kimberly. Her attitude stinks. She's admitted as much. She's a bitch in her own words. So perhaps it's for the best that these two break up. Because by the sounds of things, Kim isn't willing to live with TJ's family. And to ask TJ to choose between one or the other, her or his family, is just cruel and unfair. Especially after she was the one that agreed to live with them. So the real question here, the question that I'm sure is on all of our minds, is how did Kimberly's tarot cards not forecast this mess?